Welcome to the Phil and H Travel Podcast. Is it worth it? Today we're auditing Sidi Bou Saïd, the blue and white cliff town outside Tunis that everyone's seen on a postcard and almost nobody has budgeted properly for.
Yeah, that's exactly the issue.
Right. It's this place that presents just a massive contradiction right out of the gate. Like, on paper, it is one of Tunisia's safest, most visually arresting corners.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
And you can theoretically handle your transport and your entrance fees for a day trip here for under $10.
Yep. Under 10?
But the reality on the ground, tourists are routinely doubling or honestly even tripling their daily spend because they get blindsided by hidden markups, absolute choke points of crowds, and airport flat rate traps.
And we can't forget that completely restructured 2026 tourist tax.
Oh, right, the tax that hikes top-tier hotel stays by up to $4 a night.
Right. It is a phenomenal destination, but it requires serious tactical planning.
Definitely.
We also have to, overlay the reality of Tunisia's continuous state of emergency security posture.
Which sounds super intimidating.
It does sound intimidating to the uninitiated, sure. But navigating that security framework is incredibly manageable, provided, the specific ground rules before you step off the plane.
Exactly, and we're going to break all of that down today in this deep dive. The pricing psychology, the physical logistics of the crowds, and highly specific base camp advice.
Yeah, whether you are dragging a stroller with a family or, backpacking on a shoestring.
Or looking for a 5-star luxury escape, we've got you covered. So if you're planning a trip and want the honest, is it worth it verdict before you book, follow the show on Spotify or Apple.
Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start by attacking what I genuinely believe is the single biggest misconception about this town. We are making a contrarian claim right now.
I love a contrarian claim. Let's hear it.
Sidi Bou Saïd is absolutely not a full-day destination.
No, not at all.
If you look at a map and trace the actual footprint, this is realistically like a 90-minute walkthrough.
Right. What's really fascinating here is how the digital marketing engine has completely distorted physical geography.
Oh, it really has.
Like when you search for this town online, you are flooded with these sprawling full-day in Sidi Bou Saïd blog posts.
Yes, or those meticulously padded agency itineraries.
Exactly. And we have to look at the financial incentive behind that. Content creators and tour agencies, they need the destination to feel robust enough to justify a dedicated day tour price tag.
Because you can't sell a 90-minute tour for $50.
Right, exactly. But the physical geographical reality, the core sites like the main street, the iconic cafe steps, the walk up to the lighthouse, and the marina overlook, they are incredibly compact.
Super compact.
You can comfortably, slowly cover all of that on foot in 2 to 3 hours, maximum.
I'm so glad you brought up those blogs because I was reading them to prepare for this deep dive, and I kept thinking, wait, what are you doing for the other 6 hours?
Right. Like, where are you hiding?
Yeah. And when you look closely, they are cheating the boundaries.
Oh, big time.
Most of those full-day itineraries are padding the schedule by bundling in the ancient ruins of Carthage and the coastal town of Marsa.
Which, to be fair, is fine. They're right next door on the exact same TGM light rail line.
Sure. But they are entirely separate destinations. You are not spending 8 hours wandering the blue and white alleys of Sidi Bou Saïd unless you are quite literally walking in circles.
Or very, very lost. And tying this into the macro urgency of traveling there in 2026 or 2027, we really have to look at the structural finances.
Yes, the money part.
Specifically, that hiked tourist tax that went into active effect back in November 2024. The government implemented a scaled tax structure based on the star rating of your accommodation.
Right, so what does that actually look like for the traveler?
It runs from 4 to 12 Tunisian dinars per person per night. In U.S. dollars, that's roughly $1.30 to $4 nightly.
Which, that does sound like a massive deal on its own, right?
No, not if you're booking independently. But if you are a package holidaymaker, there's a capped local fee add-on that can tack on up to $38 to your final bill.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that shifts the baseline math completely.
It absolutely does, especially when we contextualize it against the national average. Current data shows that a full Tunisia daily budget, meaning your accommodation, food, and transport, averages about $87.50 per person.
Okay, so just under $90 a day.
Right. Now, contrast that with the standalone cost of doing a Sidi Bou Saïd and Carthage day trip from central Tunis.
Right.
You can pull off that specific excursion for under $10.
That variance is wild. How you structure your time completely changes your financial exposure.
Exactly.
But before we even get to the budgets, I want to circle back to what you mentioned in the intro about the safety framework.
Ah, yes. The state of emergency.
Because this is like the invisible layer of this trip.
Yeah.
What does a formal state of emergency actually look like when I'm just trying to get a coffee?
It's a crucial piece of context. The state of emergency grants security forces expanded stop and search powers nationally.
Okay, so more police.
In practical terms, yes. This means the state is maintaining a continuous, visible security posture to protect vital infrastructure and, crucially, tourist zones.
So for you listening, I want to be crystal clear. A state of emergency does not mean the streets are inherently dangerous.
No, not at all.
It's actually the opposite. It is highly secured. But it means you must mentally prepare for routine police checkpoints.
Which happen all the time.
Right. You might be in a taxi, making a simple 10-minute transfer between towns, and you will get pulled over. They will ask to see your passport.
And if you don't expect it, your heart rate spikes.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You instantly think you've done something wrong. But if you know the ground rules, you just hand over the passport, smile, and consider it a minor administrative pause in your afternoon.
Exactly. Knowledge removes the anxiety. But there is another kind of anxiety we need to warn you about.
The crowds.
The sheer density of the crowds.
Yes, the choke point. We just established that the town's footprint is incredibly small. So what happens by mid-morning?
It fills up fast.
The main artery, Rue Habib Thamar, transforms into a physical bottleneck.
Total gridlock.
If you are the kind of traveler who gets claustrophobic, or if you just can't handle shoulder-to-shoulder foot traffic just to squeeze past a souvenir stall, peak season daylight hours here are an absolute skip for you.
Yeah, there is no magically serene, empty version of this main street in the middle of a summer day.
No, it just doesn't exist. Which raises an important question. If the daylight hours are a guaranteed choke point, when exactly should you be booking your flights to experience this place properly?
Right. To figure that out, we have to talk about the seasonal sweet spots, because the calendar essentially dictates your entire experience here.
Okay, so when are the sweet spots?
The historical data and the on-the-ground reality point to two highly specific windows, April through June and September through October.
Spring and autumn.
Yes, these are the absolute premium times to go. First, the daytime temperatures sit in a profoundly comfortable Mediterranean range.
Because you have to remember the geography here. You are going to be climbing steep, unshaded, cobbled inclines.
Oh, yeah. Doing that in spring or autumn weather is delightful. Doing it in July is punishing.
Let's paint the picture of July and August for a second.
Yeah.
Why is it the absolute worst time?
It is the intersection of two massive forces. You have the peak Mediterranean heat, which is intense on its own.
Right.
But you also have the demographic shift. It's not just international tourists. July and August are when domestic Tunisian tourists flood the northern coastal suburbs for their own summer holidays.
Oh, so everyone is there.
Everyone. The result is that the narrow main street we just talked about essentially becomes a slow-moving, sweltering corridor from 10 in the morning straight through to 6 p.m.
It honestly sounds like being stuck in the line for a theme park ride. But there's no ride at the end, just a cafe.
That's a perfect analogy.
This is why I look at the shoulder seasons, so March and November, and the ultimate value play.
Oh, absolutely.
You get tangible structural benefits. Hotel prices in the neighboring towns of Tunis and Marsa drop noticeably.
Always a plus.
But the real luxury you buy in March or November is space.
Space is everything there.
Think about the steps leading up to Café Sidi Shaban. They are the most heavily photographed visual in the town. In peak summer, you are waiting in a 20-minute single-file line just to take a photo of an empty step.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
In November, you just walk up and take the picture.
And there is a massive variable that dictates the flow of those crowds, even in the shoulder seasons.
Okay, what is it?
The cruise ships. If we want to understand why Sidi Bou Saïd feels the way it does, we have to look at the logistics of the port of La Goulette.
Right. The cruise ship variable. This is where you really need to map out your day.
It's a textbook example of infrastructure dictating the tourist experience. The port of La Goulette is the main deep water port for Tunis.
Right.
When these massive ships dock, they deploy literal fleets of coaches for half-day shore excursions. Because they package Sidi Bou Saïd and the Carthage ruins together, the timing is highly regimented.
Like clockwork.
Exactly. These massive, consolidated groups of passengers arrive in the cliff town exactly between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
So it is a total clash of ecosystems.
It really is.
You have these independent travelers trying to sip a quiet morning coffee, and suddenly 200 people led by a guide holding a neon umbrella filter into a street that is only 15 feet wide.
Yep. They all converge on Café des Nattes at the exact same moment.
It completely sucks the oxygen out of the room.
And you have to overlay that cruise schedule with the local rhythms, too.
Oh, right, the weekend crowds.
Exactly. Friday evenings and Saturdays bring an entirely different but equally dense demographic. Tunis locals drive up specifically to watch the sunset from the lighthouse path and the marina.
So if you fly in and decide to head to Sidi Bou Saïd at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, you are intentionally walking into the heaviest local crowd of the entire week.
Basically, yeah.
So if I'm booking one of those shoulder season sweet spots, what's the weather risk? Like if I go in January or February to avoid everyone, what happens?
Well, the winters are mild by broad standards. You aren't dealing with freezing snow.
Right.
But January and February bring serious Mediterranean wind and occasional driving rain.
Ah, okay.
And that lighthouse walk we keep mentioning, it is highly exposed on a cliff edge. It is downright unpleasant in a February windstorm.
Let's put some tactical booking timelines on this. We know late September into October is prime. The data shows that flights on Tunisair or European carriers into Tunis-Carthage Airport, along with hotel rates, drop 20 to 30% from their August peaks.
That's a huge saving. Because of that predictable price drop, the tactical advice is to book flights and hotels 6 to 8 weeks ahead of those spring and autumn windows.
You can't just book it last minute.
No, because the secret is out on the shoulder season. Regional European travelers are targeting those exact same months to escape the heat.
Got it. And if you are a luxury traveler, this is a hard rule. You have to request your sea-facing views early.
Oh, yes. Very early.
The premium inventory on the coast tightens up incredibly fast because everyone is optimizing for that perfect weather-to-crowd ratio. But here is where it gets really interesting. You've booked the perfect month, you've arrived at the perfect time, but the moment you step out of the terminal, you are immediately facing your first financial trap.
Yeah, the airport. Let's set the geographical baseline for your arrival. You are landing at Tunis-Carthage International Airport. It sits about 8 kilometers outside of central Tunis and about 25 to 30 kilometers from Sidi Bou Saïd itself.
And the friction begins the second the automatic sliding doors open.
It does, because you essentially have 3 ways to bridge that 30-kilometer gap. You have official metered taxis at the rank, you have ride-hailing apps like Bolt, and you have prearranged hotel transfers.
Okay, so what's the issue?
The deep trap here is the official airport taxi rank.
Let's unpack the psychology of this trap because it is just so human.
Right.
You have just landed, you are jet-lagged, maybe slightly disoriented, you're hauling luggage.
You just want to shower.
Exactly. You walk out to the official-looking taxi rank, the driver looks at you, and instead of turning on the meter, quotes you a flat rate.
And that flat rate is routinely double or even triple what the actual metered fare would be for a 30-minute drive.
But because you are exhausted, the temptation to just say, fine, and throw your bags in the trunk is overwhelming.
It is the ultimate tax on fatigue.
Yeah.
Which is why we have to introduce the absolute backbone of transport in this region, the TGM train.
Tell us about the TGM.
TGM stands for Tunis Goulet Marsa. It is a light rail line that runs the length of this coastal corridor. If you take a cheap, quick-metered taxi from the airport just down to the Tunis Marine station, you can board the TGM and ride it directly to the Sidi Bou Saïd stop.
And it takes, what, about half an hour?
Takes about 30 minutes, yeah.
The pricing on the TGM is almost comical compared to the airport taxis. It is well under $1 each way.
It's incredible.
A round trip is under 2 Tunisian dinars. That's about 65 cents.
Right.
You can also take a metered taxi from central Tunis, which is just a few dollars. But confirming that the driver has actually engaged the meter before the car moves is non-negotiable.
Always check the meter. But we also have to be brutally honest about the physical reality of taking that cheap train.
Okay, what's the catch?
From the TGM stop in Sidi Bou Saïd, it is a 10 to 15-minute, profoundly uphill walk to reach the actual blue and white town.
Oh. And in the heat, dragging a rolling suitcase.
It is a genuine cardio workout.
I can imagine.
It catches people completely off guard. They step off the train expecting to be in a postcard, and instead they are staring at a massive incline.
But there's a flip side.
The positive counterbalance is that once you conquer that hill, the geography is entirely in your favor. The town is incredibly compact.
Right.
Everything, the main street, the cafes, the marina overlook, is within a 10 to 15-minute walking radius.
So you've made the climb, you are sweating, But you are finally looking around at the bougainvillea and the blue doors, and your first instinct is, this is gorgeous, I want to sleep here tonight.
Right.
But if you act on that instinct, it might actually ruin your trip.
This is one of the most critical realizations of this entire deep dive.
Let's listen up on this one.
The harsh reality of Sidi Bou Saïd is that there are very few properties located actually inside the town.
Really?
Yes. And the boutique guest houses that do exist are perched on those incredibly steep, uneven, cobbled inclines we just talked about.
Oh, so bringing your bags.
Exactly. If you have mobility limitations, or if you simply don't want to haul heavy luggage up a stone mountain, trying to sleep inside the cliff town is a severe logistical headache.
This is exactly why you need a base camp strategy. You treat Sidi Bou Saïd as the excursion, not the bedroom.
100%.
We've broken this down by traveler persona, because where you drop your bags completely dictates the rhythm of your trip. Let's start with the backpackers and budget travelers.
Okay, if you're on a strict budget, you need to look inland, away from the coast, towards central Tunis.
Okay, where specifically?
Specifically, neighborhoods like Lafayette or Bab Bar. You can secure basic, safe guest house accommodation there for $18 to $31 a night.
Wow, that's incredibly cheap.
The financial savings are massive. But the trade-off is your time. You are committing to a 30-minute TGM commute every time you want to see the ocean.
But wait, if I'm a mid-range traveler, maybe a couple looking for a romantic getaway, I don't want to commute 30 minutes on a train for my morning coffee. Where do I go?
For the mid-range demographic, Marsa is the absolute optimal base camp.
La Marsa.
Yes. It is located just a few TGM stops further up the coast from Sidi Bou Saïd. You are looking at $50 to $90 a night for stunning boutique riads.
That's still a really great price.
And your commute to the cliff town is less than 10 minutes. Plus, you gain immediate walkable access to La Marsa's beachfront promenade and its incredible restaurant scene.
Okay, what about families? Because wrangling kids on trains sounds exhausting.
Families should also target La Marsa or look just slightly further north to the Gammarth coastal strip.
What are the budgets like there?
Budgets here run $80 to $150 a night. What that buys you is larger apartment-style spaces, resort-level amenities, and crucially, actual beach access for the kids. You don't have to rely on public transport just to build a sandcastle.
Right. And if budget is no object,
Luxury travelers should isolate their search strictly to the 4- and 5-star coastal resorts in Gammarth or the high-end properties in La Marsa.
and what's the price tag on those?
These run between $80 and $250 a night, depending on the season.
Oh, wait, and this is where that 2026 tourist tax hits hardest, right?
Exactly. You will pay the maximum $4 per person per night on top of the room rate. But the expansive pools, the service, and the ease of hiring private drivers make it the only real choice for a high-end experience.
Now, if you stubbornly decide you still want to sleep inside Sidi Bou Saïd despite the hills, there are two massive atmosphere factors you have to accept.
Oh, yeah.
First is the noise. If you book near the main street, you're going to hear that Friday and Saturday local sunset crowd.
It is vibrant, but it is definitely not quiet.
And second, and this blows people's minds, there is no real beach.
It is a fundamental misconception. Because it is a coastal town in the Mediterranean, people assume they can walk out of their hotel and onto the sand.
Right, but Sidi Bou Saïd is a cliff town. The only water access is a very modest, tiny beach down at the marina.
If you want a proper beach day, you really have to base in La Marsa or Gammarth anyway.
Okay, so you've got your base camp sorted in La Marsa, but eventually you are going to get hungry.
Naturally.
And eating in Sidi Bou Saïd requires a very specific playbook, otherwise you're going to hemorrhage cash.
You really have to understand the tourist price divide here.
Let's break that down.
Because the town is a visual magnet heavily trafficked by cruise passengers, the restaurants located directly on the main street operate in a completely isolated economic reality.
They can charge whatever they want.
Basically, they are routinely charging double the rates for equivalent food that you would find just down the road in Tunis or La Marsa.
Let's give you a tangible benchmark so you can spot the markup in real time. The ultimate Tunisian street food is the baguette farci. It is a fresh baguette stuffed with fries, salad, and your choice of meat. It is incredible, it is filling, and if you buy it from a local stall just one street away from the main tourist strip, it will cost you between 3 and 6 Tunisian dinars.
That is roughly $1 to $2 US.
Wild.
We can also track this divide through what I call the mint tea index.
The mint tea index, I love that.
Mint tea is the iconic order at places like Café des Nats. If you sit on those famous steps, you will pay between $2 and $4 for a glass of tea.
Okay.
If you order that exact same tea in a standard local cafe in Tunis, it costs under $1. You are paying a 300% premium for the view.
Which, to be fair, is a great view.
It's beautiful, yeah.
But you just need to know you're paying for it. If you want a proper sit-down meal, maybe lunch at a gorgeous spot like Blue, which does fantastic Mediterranean and traditional Tunisian dishes, you are looking at $12 to $20 per person for a main course and a drink.
And when we zoom out and calculate a realistic daily food average for a local experience, eating well, but avoiding the obvious tourist traps, a standard daily food budget across 3 meals is about 50 Tunisian dinars.
Okay, so in dollars.
That equates to roughly $16.50 per person per day.
$16 a day to eat beautifully in the Mediterranean. That is staggering value.
It really is.
And it gets even better if you are self-catering.
Yeah.
If you book that apartment in La Marsa, we highly advocate for Mediterranean market shopping.
Oh, absolutely.
You walk out in the morning, buy warm bread, local olives, incredible cheeses, and produce. You are paying a fraction of restaurant prices for world-class ingredients.
And while we are on the topic of dining out, we should probably clarify the tipping etiquette.
Right. What's the standard?
Tipping is customary in Tunisia, but it is modest. For a sit-down restaurant, leaving 5 to 10% or simply rounding up the bill is standard and appreciated.
And for street food?
It is not mandatory at quick street food stalls.
Good to know. Now, I want to talk about a psychological trap at the dinner table. The currency illusion.
Oh, this catches so many people.
It causes so much unnecessary anxiety for first-time visitors. So you sit down, you're tired, you look at a menu in a tourist restaurant, and the prices are often listed just as raw numbers in Tunisian dinars without a dollar sign next to them.
Right.
You see a coffee listed at 8 TND, and your brain, completely conditioned to dollars or euros, panics. You think, are they really charging me an $8 coffee?
It is a very common momentary panic, but AT&D is about $2.60.
Exactly. Do not let the raw numbers elevate your heart rate until you actually do the conversion.
Good advice.
And what about food safety for 2026?
The guidance remains consistent with the broader region. You must stick strictly to bottled water.
No tap water.
Correct. Do not consume ice cubes in your drinks unless you are sitting in a high-end, reputable hotel where you are absolutely certain the ice is made from purified water.
Right. What about salads?
Exercise basic caution with raw salads at very low-cost street stalls, simply due to the tap water used to wash the vegetables.
Okay, so when you add up the $2 mint teas, the 65-cent train rides, the $16 food average, and the base camp accommodation, what does a full day actually look like on your bank statement?
Let's break this down extensively by persona because the variance is wide.
Let's do it. Start with the backpacker.
Okay, for the backpacker, we project a highly accurate total daily spend of $40 to $55.
What does that include?
That accounts for an 18 to 31 wonder room in central Tunis, $8 to $12 for street food and market groceries, $2 to $4 for the TGM and the rare taxi, $3 to $5 for attraction entrance fees, and a $5 buffer.
Okay, but how does a backpacker accidentally blow that budget? Because I know people who have gone and spent triple that.
Well, the overrun happens the literal second they get tired and decide to sit down for a full meal on the main street in Sidi Bou Saïd.
Right.
Or they get impatient waiting for the train and accept a flat-rate taxi. If you stick to the transit plan, $50 a day is totally viable.
Let's step it up. What about the mid-range traveler?
The mid-range budget lands cleanly between $70 and $95 total per person per day.
Break that down for us.
That includes half of a shared boutique room in La Marsa, so $25 to $45 per person. Food, which now includes one nice sit-down meal, jumps to $16.56 to $25. Transport is $3 to $5.
And attractions?
Attractions, including the combined Carthage Ruins ticket, run $5 to $8 total with a $10 buffer.
What is fascinating here is how perfectly this aligns with the $87.50 national daily average we mentioned earlier.
It really does. It proves that a comfortable, culture-rich day is entirely standard pricing if you simply choose La Marsa as your base.
Now let's look at the family of 4. This is where the numbers scale up fast.
Oh, absolutely.
You are looking at $205 to $295 total per day. You have that Gamworth apartment at $100 to $150. Mixed dining, meaning the parents cook breakfast but eat out for lunch and dinner, is $50 to $70. Attractions for 4 people are $20 to $30 with a $20 buffer.
But the transport is where it gets tricky for families.
Right. I want to zero in on the transport line item, which is $15 to $25. Families consistently underestimate the cost and the sheer exhaustion of taking taxis everywhere.
Yep.
With kids, the TGM is cheap, But wrangling a tired toddler to the station in the heat breaks parents down.
Totally understandable.
They default to convenience taxis, and that eats into the daily budget incredibly fast.
Then we have the luxury tier, which projects at $270 to $470 per person daily.
And what are they spending that on?
This includes the Gamworth Resort at $150 to $250, plus the $4 tourist tax. High-end dining takes up $60 to $100. Hiring a private driver or premium app-based taxis takes $30 to $50.
Okay.
Curated tours and entrance fees are $20 to $40 with a $30 buffer. At this tier, you aren't paying for access, you are paying for seamlessness.
You're paying to be completely isolated from the crowds and the transport friction.
Precisely.
And finally, a demographic that is quietly flocking here. The digital nomad.
Yes, this is a great one.
This is a monthly calculation. For a full month of remote work, you are looking at $1,060 to $160 to $1,750 total.
Which breaks down to $500 to $900 for a great La Marsa apartment, $350 to $500 for food, $60 to $100 for TGM and taxis, $50 to $100 for co-working spaces or fast Wi-Fi cafes, and a buffer of $100 to $150.
If we evaluate this against the global remote work landscape, this budget handily beats almost any coastal alternative in Southern Europe right now.
Oh, hands down. The value proposition for nomads seeking a Mediterranean lifestyle is phenomenal.
The bottom line across all these personas is clear. Good value is mathematically derived from taking the TGM and buying the $4 Carthage ticket.
And bad value.
Bad value is eating 3 meals a day on the Sidi Bou Saïd tourist strip.
Right.
Now, you've seen the budgets, but to actually hit those exact numbers, you have to survive 3 specific named logistical traps that drain your wallet and your patience.
We've danced around them a bit, but let's codify exactly how they work.
Let's do it. Trap number 1.
Trap number 1, the airport flat rate taxi trap. The mechanism here is deeply entrenched. The drivers sitting at the official taxi rank right outside the terminal frequently refuse to run the meter for tourists.
So they just make up a number.
Instead, they quote a fixed price for the 25 to 30-minute drive to Sidi Bou Saïd or La Marsa.
And we touched on this earlier, but the reality is it works on tourists almost every time.
It really does.
You don't know the local currency yet, you don't know the layout of the roads, and you are fatigued. You agree to it, and you end up being overcharged by $10 to $20 on a fare that should literally cost a few dollars.
Which hits solo travelers and families arriving late at night the absolute hardest.
Because your negotiating leverage feels non-existent at midnight when you just want to get to bed.
Exactly. The fix is entirely procedural. You must confidently insist on the meter before putting your bags in the trunk.
And if they say no?
If they refuse, do not argue. Just walk away and use the Bolt app for transparent upfront pricing, or completely eliminate the stress by paying a slight premium to prearrange a fixed-rate transfer through your hotel before you even board your flight.
Trap number 2. The cruise hour photo bottleneck.
Ah, yeah.
The mechanism here is the Port of La Goulette shore excursions. Between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., they funnel massive, slow-moving groups directly to the exact same cafe steps that you flew across the world to see.
Right. The reality of this trap isn't lost money. It is a severely degraded experience.
It's just frustrating.
You will wait 15 to 30 minutes just to take a photograph. Walking down the street becomes a claustrophobic shuffle. You lose the atmospheric magic of the town.
So the fix is scheduling. Arrive before 9 a.m. while the cruise passengers are still eating breakfast on the ship.
Or arrive after 2 p.m. when the buses have driven them back to the port.
Or, if you have total flexibility, go on a non-peak weekday entirely outside of the summer season.
And trap number 3, the base in the wrong town trap.
Oh, this is a big one.
The mechanism is basic search behavior. First-time visitors type hotel in Sidi Bou Saïd into a booking engine.
Makes sense, right?
Right, but this leads them to a very small, algorithmically inflated pool of overpriced, hard-to-reach inventory.
The reality is that you end up paying a $30 to $60 premium per night for a mediocre room, and you have to drag your bags up a cobblestone mountain to get there.
Plus, you completely miss out on the beautiful, swimmable beaches in La Marsa.
The fix is to shift your entire paradigm of the trip. Treat Sidi Bou Saïd purely as a day trip via the TGM train, and book your base camp in La Marsa or Gamworth.
That's the secret.
Navigating these traps requires awareness, which naturally brings us to the broader question of awareness on the ground. We need to talk about safety, security, and traveling solo.
Okay, let's dig back into the 2026 security reality. We established there is a formal state of emergency.
Right. But if I'm driving a rental car or taking a taxi and I hit a passport check, how am I supposed to feel about that?
You should feel that it is routine. When we analyze the real risk hierarchy for 2026, the Tunis northern suburbs, which encompass Sidi Bou Saïd, Carthage, and Marsa, are highly secure.
Good to know.
This zone is expat-friendly, visibly patrolled, and generally very relaxed. It is grouped with places like Joba and Sousse as classic, heavily protected, established tourist zones.
How does this environment play out for specific demographics, say a solo female traveler?
The consensus is that it is highly manageable during daylight hours. There is dense foot traffic, and you are surrounded by both locals and visitors.
Are there any specific rules to follow?
The standard global travel rules apply. Dress modestly when you are away from the resort pools and avoid wandering into unlit, isolated streets after dark.
And for families, we already talked about the stroller nightmare.
Exactly. The pedestrian areas on the main street are comfortable and safe from vehicle traffic, but you cannot bring a stroller to the side streets.
It's just too bumpy.
It is a logistical impossibility on the steep, uneven cobblestones. Bring a baby carrier.
Let's talk about the nuisances. Scams, nightlife, and health. If the violent crime is low, what is the hustle I need to watch out for?
The primary scam you will encounter is actually outside the town itself. It is the unofficial guides or drivers who approach you at the airport or loiter around the Tunis Marine train station.
What do they do?
They will offer unsolicited tours or insist you need their help to buy a train ticket. The approach is simple. Just politely but firmly decline and keep walking.
Got it. As for nightlife, I feel like people expect a Mediterranean party vibe, but there basically isn't any in Sidi Bou Saïd, right?
None. The town effectively shuts down after dinner. It is not a party destination.
So where do you go?
If you want evening entertainment, bars, or a vibrant late-night scene, you need to be based in Marsa or central Tunis.
What about getting back to that base camp late at night?
The TGM train is fantastic and safe by day, but late at night, the stations thin out significantly.
Okay, so take a taxi.
At that point, booking a metered or app-based taxi via Bolt is the much safer, smarter choice than walking to an empty train platform.
And regarding health, you are very close to Tunis's major modern hospital infrastructure, right?
Yes. Carry standard travel insurance, and as we noted earlier, stick strictly to bottled water.
Okay, so you're safe, you're well-fed, you haven't been scammed, and you didn't overpay for your hotel.
The dream scenario.
Let's talk about the payoff. What actually makes the trip magical, and what will leave you feeling completely underwhelmed.
The genuine highlights of this town are spectacular. The view from the lighthouse path, looking out across the deep blue of the Gulf of Tunis all the way to Cape Bon, is genuinely breathtaking.
And the cost?
It costs absolutely $0. It richly rewards an early morning or late afternoon visit when the Mediterranean light softens.
And the Café Sidi Chaban steps. Yes, we warned you endlessly about the crowds, but the truth is, if you time it right, it delivers on the visual promise.
Oh, absolutely.
At golden hour, with the impossibly blue doors, the stark white walls, and the sea sparkling in the background, it is exactly the postcard you flew there to see. The hype is valid.
It is also deeply rewarding to just abandon the map and wander the side streets.
Get lost a bit.
Yeah. If you step off the main commercial artery, away from the tour groups, you find these incredibly quiet residential lanes draped in vibrant magenta bougainvillea.
Beautiful.
And of course, there is the massive added value of taking the TGM one stop down to ancient Carthage. For an extra $4 entry fee, you get to walk through the monumental Antonine Baths and the ancient Punic ports.
It adds an incredible layer of historical weight to a day that is otherwise purely aesthetic.
But we promised an honest audit, which means we have to expose the honest disappointments.
Let's hear them.
And the biggest one is this. Do not come here expecting an undiscovered, sleepy fishing village.
Yes. The hidden gem influencer myth is incredibly damaging to baseline traveler expectations.
It really is.
This is one of the most heavily photographed, widely promoted towns in all of North Africa. If you expect a quiet, untouched village, you are mathematically guaranteeing your own disappointment when you arrive to see queues of tourists and diesel tour buses idling in the lot.
It is the ultimate Instagram illusion. You see these photos online of perfectly empty, sun-drenched streets.
What the caption doesn't tell you is that the photographer woke up at 6 a.m., waited for the sun to clear the horizon, and took those shots at 7 or 8 in the morning.
Right.
Those photos were not taken during the Friday sunset local rush, I promise you.
The other major disappointment is purely financial. It leaves a very bad taste in your mouth to sit on the plane ride home and realize you overpaid for a mediocre Main Street meal when you could have walked one street over and bought an incredible, authentic baguette farci for half the price.
If you are listening to this and you're thinking, well, the crowds sound like a nightmare, and the lack of beaches in Sidi Bou Saïd is a deal breaker for my vacation, you have two incredible alternatives in Tunisia that solve those exact problems.
The first alternative is Hammamet.
Okay, tell us about Hammamet.
This is a Mediterranean coastal town located about an hour south of Tunis. It solves the beach problem instantly.
Nice.
It offers a stunning, genuine old sandstone medina right on the water, and crucially, it has real, extensive, sandy beach frontage.
The cost structure there is also slightly lower, right?
Yes. You can find excellent resort accommodation in Hammamet running $60 to $180 a night.
It is vastly superior for families who want to spend their days playing in the fan while still having the charm of an old Medina nearby. But the trade-off is aesthetics.
Right, you lose the blue and white.
Exactly. You completely lose the iconic blue and white clifftop architecture that makes Sidi Bou Saïd globally famous.
The second alternative is Jerba. This is an island off the southeast coast of Tunisia.
What's the vibe there?
It is consistently named as one of the absolute safest and most established tourist destinations in the entire country. It is built for pure, frictionless relaxation.
So resorts.
Featuring massive all-inclusive resorts ranging from $80 to $250 a night.
It's a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
It's palm trees, massive pools, and beach chairs.
Yeah, much more relaxed.
But by choosing the island isolation of Jerba, you lose the logistical brilliance of the TGM train. You can't just wake up in Jerba and take a 30-minute $1 train ride to the ancient Roman ruins of Carthage.
Exactly. You are trading cultural access for pure resort comfort.
We've looked at the data, we've mapped out the traps, we've offered the alternatives. So let's look at the matrix. Is Sidi Bou Saïd actually worth it for you?
Let's do the rapid-fire persona verdicts.
For the backpacker, is it worth it?
Emphatically worth it. It is a phenomenal sub-$10 day trip from Tunis, but skip it entirely if you were trying to find a cheap bed to sleep in there.
For the mid-range traveler, is it worth it?
Worth it. If you base your trip in Marsa and visit for a half day, it's brilliant. At a highly manageable $70 to $95 daily, it easily beats an island like Jerba for culture lovers who want more than just a beach chair.
For a family of 4, is it worth it?
Worth it, but only with a strict plan. You must base in Gamarth for the space and the beach.
And when to skip.
But you should skip this specific excursion if you are forced to drag a heavy stroller, or if the idea of passing through routine security checkpoints on a road trip stresses your family out. Expect a $295 to $295 daily spend.
For the luxury traveler, is it worth it?
Worth it purely as an excursion. Base yourself in a 4- or 5-star Marsa resort and use a private driver to completely bypass the airport taxi traps.
Right.
Just do not expect sweeping luxury hotel campuses inside the cliff town itself. It's a fantastic $270 to $470 daily tier experience.
And finally, for the digital nomad.
Extremely worth it. A $1,060 to $1,750 monthly budget based in Marsa provides an incredible quality of life that easily rivals and frankly beats most Southern European coastal alternatives right now in terms of pure value.
So the overall verdict is this. Book carefully. Sidi Bou Saïd is an absolute visual highlight of the Mediterranean.
Truly.
But it only rewards travelers who are smart enough to base their stay elsewhere, who strategically time their visits around the cruise ship hours to avoid the choke points, and who have the confidence to insist on the taxi meter at the airport.
Treat it as an exquisite targeted excursion, not as your permanent base camp. If you execute that strategy, the cost-to-experience ratio is almost unbeatable. But before we wrap, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We've talked extensively about the new $4 tourist tax today as a line item on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But I want you to consider how that modern tourism infrastructure actually interacts with ancient protected heritage sites.
In what way?
That tax actively participates in preserving a client that has survived the rise and fall of literal empires. It's fascinating to reflect on your own footprint as a traveler. The few dinars you pay for a hotel bed tonight actively help ensure that these iconic blue and white walls and the Roman ruins just down the train line remain standing for the next century of visitors to experience.
If this gave you the honest verdict you needed, follow the show. New episodes drop every day.
That is the honest verdict from Phil and H.